Alright, in this video, I'm going to be watching this BuzzFeed video I did like 7 years ago. It's called Voice Actors Share Secrets to Changing Your Voice. Now, I have not watched this since it first came out. I don't even know if I watched it when it came out because I don't really like watching myself, which is, I guess, kind of ironic because of what I do. But yeah, I distinctly remember when I recorded this or filmed this. I had just moved to LA. I was there probably a year. I had been doing voiceover before this for about 4 years. But I feel like this video is so interesting because it's like right before my career started to really take off. And I know during this video I had probably some imposter syndrome because I'm like, you're asking me to do this. I feel like, I don't know, I haven't proven myself yet. I think I had definitely recorded recorded OKKO at this point, but couldn't talk about it. Maybe a couple other things. So I feel like I had that just during this video, like, oh, I wish I could talk about this role and this role, but obviously couldn't because of NDAs. Yeah, I don't know. It's just going to be very interesting for me. I don't even remember what I say in this. I kind of remember a little bit. But I don't know. I thought it'd be interesting to go through it and just react and discuss what old, young Sungwon said back then. And I think now, since then, I have over 150 credits. I think now I might be qualified to discuss this topic. So, let's do it.
Sometimes you need a really obnoxious sort of like, hey you, yeah, go. I was gonna say go f yourself, but that's not appropriate.
All right.
Sungwon Cho.
What are these 8 ways? Okay, what are these 8 ways? Let's dive into it.
Actor, and I also have a YouTube channel called ProZD. I do short skits and nerdy stuff, and basically whatever I feel like doing.
Lysanderoth, you are
I suppose that hasn't changed.
behind all this?
Yes, it was I.
You have your mother's eyes.
Father.
I'm gonna do some voices and
How many subscribers did I
basically
have
whatever
back
short
then?
skits and voice actor, and
Let's
I
see,
also have a
let's
YouTube
see.
channel called ProZD.
1.6 million. Wow. And now it's 3.9. Crazy. Okay. Anyway.
You have your mother's eyes.
Father.
I'm gonna do some voices and try to describe how I do them. I may not be the best guy to ask for how do you properly physically do all these voices. I kind of just go with my gut, but you know what, that's okay. They already asked me here, so too bad.
So yeah, this was interesting because I didn't really have anything prepared. They kind of just were like, I guess we're gonna talk about VO. And then they went, go. And I went, oh, I didn't prepare anything. I think in my mind, maybe I thought there would be like questions and I would answer them. So I really just, I think, started pulling stuff out of my ass. However, the notion of kind of just going with your gut has not changed. Honestly, I guess when asked, like, how do you change your voice? Like I say in this video, I'm not that guy who's like, oh, well, you use your diaphragm and you do this technical thing and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I don't know any of those terms. There are other actors who know all the little nitty gritties about, oh, you use the uvula, blah, 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 you know, just like whatever. But I'm not that guy. A lot of it really for me is just go with your gut. I always tell people, trust your instincts. Honestly, that's usually served me well.
I get asked a lot to do kind of like these grand old king or god voices. The first role I ever did was Zeus in a game called The Pantheon, and
He's kind of this sort of gravelly, sort of old voice. You have the audacity to invade my kingdom.
how would I describe how to do that? I always try to have a little texture, a little growl to it. Going like this, that's the sort of growl you can kind of inject into a specific voice. There was a game called The Hat.
Okay, so yeah, I mean that still holds up. Texture will always add a little something to a voice. I still do characters like this. I guess since then it's been like, you know, Boss Haraga, Senshi, you know. Yeah, holds up. Wow, I mean, man, I have not watched this since it came out. Okay, higher pitched voices, eh?
Time, I voiced the owls in that game. They were these very nervous little owls. They were just tiny little guys, and so my voice goes up quite a bit in pitch, give it a little shaky quality. Oh no, I'm very nervous about what's going on. Because the characters were so...
They did a really good job of going through my nonsense and blabbering and trying to put concrete tips in there. Kudos to them.
Small and nervous, that sort of shaky quality I felt was very important. Pitch-wise, you can kind of go up and kind of talk like this, sort of a higher, sort of, hey, I'm kind of like a protagonist kind of voice.
Yeah, I don't book fucking protagonists. I always book villains or weirdo characters, never the youthful protagonists. In fact, oftentimes I don't even read for them because I'm like, one, they're not gonna cast me, and two, I'm not interested.
That kind of range, higher range, you can go up there. And then if you go up there and then kind of go even higher and more cartoony and then nervous, you kind of get that sort of little owl voice. So I have a deep voice.
Interesting. Yeah. Listen, past Sungwon, you're gonna be doing the higher pitched voices quite a bit. Kage from Ranking of Kings. You know, I end up doing a lot of sassy ones. It's funny that in this one it's a nervous owl. These days it tends to be more some with a little bit of attitude to it. Hey, you know, yeah, it's me. That is or slightly deeper is like the Blur from Craig of the Creek. Yeah. It's higher pitched voices, but they're usually little assholes. Anyway.
And so oftentimes I'll get asked to do deep voice characters. I voice a character named Toro in Nomad of Nowhere, a Rooster Teeth animated show. And Toro's kind of he's like a more confident
My alarm went off. Very professional. All right.
version of me. So they wanted him to not sound super growly. Instead, they wanted him to sound very casual, very... Notice I'm doing this without even realizing it. So oftentimes in the booth, physicality sometimes comes into play. Like with this, I instinctively put up my arms like this. He's kind of a big, beefy guy.
Yes, I have. Thank you for noticing.
With that kind of deep voice, and then you can kind of make it dopier if you want. You can kind of put like a
Brooklyn accent on it, and then he's kind
Oh, I wonder what voice that is. Is that my gumshoe voice from the Persity Plays Games? Anyway.
of a little more... If you're doing this kind of tone, he's a friendlier kind of guy. Hey, it's me, your pal. But then you can also kind of go, I don't know, stereotypical, like the big guy. Oh yeah, boss, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you, that kind of voice. So a lot of times in cartoons.
Yeah, interesting. Physicality does come into play. I often find, like, for example, if I play a character like when I played Flack in Borderlands 3, I would usually sometimes do lines crossed arms and very just like, because Flack is very matter of fact and just like straight shooter, and like they know what they're talking about. So it's either stuff like that. Sometimes I'll just subconsciously, my hand will do certain motions, like if I just want to hit like that. I do think it helps quite a bit, even if you're not consciously doing it. Like if you get punch in the gut, you know, as long as you don't interfere with the mic, you just, anything you can do to really make yourself feel like you're experiencing something. Yeah, it's still good advice.
You hear voices, and a lot of those voices are actually just impressions of classic actors. Like a very popular one is Ed Wynn.
Butter, oh, thank you, Butter.
Sort of this kind of voice. You have sort of a lisp on your voice and a very whimsical quality. Pat Buttram, sort of a southern kind of voice.
Hush your mouth.
You could do that for a prospector or something. Like, yes, sir. You kind of add a little spittle to it, You can make it a sort of a prospector kind of voice. Sometimes you want to play like...
Yeah, that still applies. I don't know if it's interesting. Cartoons these days are kind of trending away from that. A lot of cartoon audition sites now are like, we want it to be grounded. We don't want cartoony voices. So especially as I guess the writing gets more, or I guess less outlandish, and especially now with so many like adult cartoons now that are not super cartoony but very like conversational. Yeah, I mean, obviously with your younger skewed shows and your kids shows, I guess that can apply. I think the takeaway from that is, one, I just wanted to show I could do Ed Wynn. But I think also it's for voiceover, it can be fun to kind of like not steal, but just like take and go, oh, kind of like this kind of thing, and take it and make it your own. That can be fun. I guess yeah. But yeah, how cartoon cast or trends have gone. It's you want more and more grounded voices these days, which is interesting.
Snooty character, and I like to do what's basically, it's not a British accent, but it's more like a mid-Atlantic accent. So it's sort of this kind of voice. It's very, very dignified, very precise with its pronunciation and its diction. So when it's time to play a character with more of a regal presence, you have to really focus. You have to really focus on your words. If you want to do like an old-timey voice, like I'm talking like, it's the Colgate Power Hour, with that sort of old 50s sort of announcer type voice. You really let that sort of texture going on in words like voice. When you watch old movies and you think everyone sounds kind of weird, it's because they're all doing mid-Atlantic accents. It's like a weird, almost like fake accent that they're all doing because they think that's how people should sound. There's a common misconception.
Yeah, that's just the Edgeworth voice, huh? This still applies. Honestly, one of the things I really struggled with early on was enunciation and diction, and I still have to these days like really focus in the booth, because just the way I naturally talk, I don't mumble, but it's not super crisp. At least I don't know. I don't think so. Anyway. Yeah, I think it does lend to a character when you like if I play a very regal character, I automatically feel my diction clearing up because I'm not talking like myself. I actually think I'm more comfortable voicing characters that don't sound like me, because then it just, I don't know, I just focus myself and embody that character, that I don't even think about my own voice or doing a voice. Whereas if a character sounds more like me, sometimes I don't get too wrapped up in it, but sometimes I'm like, I want to just make sure I don't fall into the habits of like my regular speech, which can be a little less clear, I guess.
Conception that it's about the voice, but I would say the acting is the most important part. Even if you can do lots of different voices, it doesn't matter unless you can also act. I'm not sure if this was helpful at all, but I had fun doing it. If you feel inspired to pursue it yourself, then I think you just gotta practice, just gotta get out there and perform and do it. That's the easiest way to start, is just start doing it, so yeah.
Wow. Another thing I thought of for the regal, or not regal, but the proper characters. Yeah, I never claim to do a British accent. In fact, I usually, if an audition asks for an authentic British accent, I just pass. I can do like cartoony. That's kind of an interesting thing with accents, is if the project is grounded and realistic, then if they want an authentic accent, I'll pass. But if they are more like, this is a little more cartoony, this is a little more elevated, then I think my accents can pass. And then a character that's kind of in that vein. He doesn't have a British accent, but Ratatoskr from God of War. Yes, that sort of very precise way of talking. And he also has a little bit of texture on his voice. Yeah, those things still apply. And then that last thing, this is what I always tell people. It's focus on the acting first, voice second. Too many people get preoccupied with, oh, I gotta have a large range of voices that sound completely different. Yeah, it helps. It helps you to book a wider variety of characters, but you gotta be able to act. There are so many great voice actors that only use their speaking voice, but they're phenomenal. And oftentimes those performances can be some of the best ones. I think people are too wrapped up in like the Mel Blanc mythos of like the man of 100 voices, 1,000 voices. I don't know. I just feel like it's acting first, and then I kind of talk about like how do you get started? How do you get into it? You just got to start doing it. Like get that experience up to a level where you're ready for it. Whether that's making stuff on your own, taking classes, theater, whatever. Just start doing it. Get good at acting. This craft is acting. Coming up with different voices and exploring your range can come later. You just have to have that foundation first. Cool. Well, I guess that's it for this one. Honestly, this was not nearly as cringy as I thought it was going to be. Young Sungwon, man, so much more that's going to happen in your future, buddy. I can feel the imposter syndrome in you. I can feel you just wanting to not only talk about stuff, but like do more stuff, and things are going pretty good for you. Let's hope that continues for present Sungwon and future Sungwon. All right. Bye, everybody.